Hi, hello, it's Rachel. So, this is very different from my usual videos. Typically, I talk about films or TV and kind of like deconstruct messaging and things that I think are harmful or good. I don't think I've ever talked about music on my channel other than mentioning liking or disliking a soundtrack. It's not really an area of expertise for me. But as someone who grew up on Hilary Duff's music and who owned all of her CDs from Metamorphosis to Dignity, I was pretty excited when I heard back in late January about her new album, Luck or Something. So, given how formative her music was for me, I figured it was fitting for me to talk about it on my YouTube channel. So, I've listened to it 3 times all the way through now. The first time I listened, if I'm being completely honest, I did feel a bit underwhelmed by it. I didn't think it was outright bad, but most of the songs weren't an instant hit for me. In fact, I'd heard Mature and Roommates before the rest of the album dropped since they were released as singles, and I loved both of them pretty much the first time I heard them. And the only other song that I instantly loved after the first listen through was Holiday Party. But even though I felt pretty lukewarm about the album as a whole with that initial listen, I did really appreciate the sentiments being expressed in the songs. Hilary sings about feelings of insecurity when it comes to romantic relationships, becoming distant from your partner, being estranged from family, being groomed by an older man, etc. These are all really important topics, and I love that she's tackling them in this album. And given it's been about a decade since her last album, it feels very fitting for her to be discussing these more serious topics. I also really loved the sound of the album. I think the instrumentals are really good. I think it's fairly unique stylistically. And Hilary's vocals have gotten so much better since Metamorphosis. Like, she's really grown as a singer. The thing that was tripping me up with my first listen through was the lyrics. Um, there was some stuff that just felt really. Because, like, these are serious songs. And, like, for example, in Mother for Tennis, the first song on the album, there's a line where she says, "Is this the hill you're willing to die on?" or something to that effect. And it just felt really, like, it felt a little too silly to be in a song so serious. Um, at least my initial listen through, I felt that way. It's grown on me since. Um, but yeah, I couldn't put my finger on why I was not vibing with the lyrics. And now that I've had a week to digest the album, I've read through the lyrics for every song. I think the fact that the lyrics are so vulnerable but simultaneously very simplistic and direct was kind of jarring for me because I feel like generally speaking, music lyrics tend to be a bit more metaphorical or abstract, but these are just very straightforward. Like, there's I mean, these are serious topics, so I don't want to say it's like shallow, but like it's very straightforward. There's not much below the surface here because it is so direct. When I listened through a second time, I realized I did like most of the other songs now that I knew what to expect. And now that I've listened 3 times, I would definitely say I like the album a lot. I'm not sure I would say it's my favorite of Hilary's albums. I was obsessed with Dignity growing up. I wore that CD out. The year it was released, I listened to that an insane amount. Um, but yeah, I did really like this album a lot, and I want to share some verses that I can't stop thinking about because I think they're just really poignant. From Weather for Tennis. Keep the peace, 'cause I'm a kid of divorce, and you're the starter of wars, and there's no winning in yours. So I call to say I'm sorry, of course, but how I won't anymore, and put the ball in your court. From We Don't Talk. 'Cause we come from the same home, the same blood, a different explanation of the same thought. People ask me if I've seen you, and honestly I hate it, 'cause the truth is that I need to, but there's no way to relay it. From The Optimist. I wish I could sleep on planes and that my father would really love me. It wouldn't take his dying day, some sort of signature that he needs from me. My door is open just in case. You don't even have to say you're sorry. I already forgive you for all of it, but it's hard to exist as the optimist. From Mature, the anthem for everyone who's been groomed. She looks like all of your girls but blonder, a little like me, just younger. But she loves when she hears you say, you are so mature for your age, babe. She looks like she could be your daughter, like me before I got smarter. When I was flattered to hear you say, you're so mature for your age, babe. From Tell Me That Won't Happen. Are we 80 years proof? Are we really immune? Will I want something new? Will you want something new? I'm worried that I felt everything I'll ever feel, and I won't again. Tell me that won't happen. And there are a bunch of lyrics I could have pulled, but if it's not letting me use songs and I feel awkward reading them, we're just gonna leave it with those select few. And before I go, I'd love to do a tier ranking for the songs because I just think tier rankings are really fun. And again, these are my opinions. You are welcome to feel differently about any of these songs. But for me, for the S tier, we have Roommates, Future Tripping, Holiday Party, Mature, and Tell Me That Won't Happen. For A tier, we have Weather for Tennis, We Don't Talk, Growing Up, and The Optimist. And for B tier, we have You from the Honeymoon and Adult Size Medium. And given tier rankings usually go S, A, B, C, F, I think you can tell I don't think there are any bad songs on this album. I've grown to love it a lot. If you haven't listened to this already, I would recommend doing so. I would honestly recommend listening to it at least twice before you make up your mind on any of the songs, because I do think, I mean, I'm sure plenty of people clicked with it immediately, but I do think, especially if you've listened to Hilary Duff's previous albums, I do think the first listen through, you're going to be a little thrown for a loop, and it may be hard to let the music actually sink in because it's just so different from her previous work. So yeah, I recommend listening to it twice. And if you still don't like it, maybe it's just not for you. But yeah, I really applaud her for this album. I think it's pretty good. I think it's very meaningful topics that she's discussing. Yeah, I think that's about it. Music is absolutely not something I'm an expert on. So I'm very limited in what I can bring to the table on this topic. But yeah, if you enjoyed hearing my thoughts, I'd appreciate if you gave this video a thumbs up or left a comment or potentially even subscribed. I get it if subscribing isn't of interest since this isn't a typical thing I do. But maybe you'd like to hear me discuss the things I'm watching. Maybe you thought I had interesting things to say here. I don't know. Did anyone else listen to this album? Did you guys grow up listening to Hilary Duff like I did? What was your favorite song of the album? What was your least favorite song of the album? I'd love to hear other people's thoughts on Luck or Something, just because I do think it is very unique in terms of content and sound. So yeah, let me know your thoughts on the album. Let me know if you agree or disagree with my tier ranking. um, and hopefully I'll see you again soon. Bye.